Hi boys and girls. Today we're going to put all of our knowledge together to determine the main idea of a text. You might remember that we've talked about looking at the title, clue words like synonyms that are used repeatedly, and also the first and last sentences in the first and last paragraphs of the text to help us find the main idea. You might also remember that we looked at all of the supporting details highlighted in the text, which were those synonyms and repeated words that supported the title of the text to help us determine that that was an appropriate title or the main idea of a text. Today, we're going to read a text together, do a close reading, highlight some of the words that we see repeatedly, look at the first and last sentences of the article, and then decide together what the main idea of that article is. You might recognize this article if you completed one of the tasks from a previous video. There's no title to this article, so we can't look at that to help us find the main idea, but we can look at the very first sentence. Throughout the years, many communities in North America have experienced the devastating realities of tornadoes. That could be a main idea of the text if the rest of the text supports that and provides details for that sentence. We'll have to see as we read. So let's go ahead and do a first read together and just get the overall idea of what the article is about. Throughout the years, many communities in North America have experienced the devastating realities of tornadoes. A tornado hit New Richmond, Wisconsin on June 12, 1899. The tornado moved through the very center of the town. 117 people were killed and many more than 150 were injured. On May 11, 1953, a tornado hit Waco, Texas, killing about 114 people. Almost 600 people were injured. On April 11, 1965, the worst tornado outbreak in years hit many Midwestern states. More than 250 people died, more than 1,500 people were injured, and property damage amounted to about $500 million. A tornado came through the eastern part of Edmonton, Alberta on July 31, 1987. In all, 27 people were killed and over 1,000 people were left homeless. If I stop now and think about what I read, I do remember seeing and hearing a lot about people that were killed and injured, lots of dates, numbers, and also a lot of places. So if I go back and highlight the different places that were talked about throughout the text in one color, those are my white highlights. My first sentence was highlighted in yellow already, and I might want to go through and just also reiterate the fact that I heard a lot about damage and deaths and injuries throughout the text. So now that my text is highlighted, I can look back and say there were, throughout the entire paragraph, many references to injuries, damage, and people sadly being killed. There were also several references throughout the beginning, middle, and end of that paragraph that referenced different places. If I look back at the first sentence, many communities in North America have experienced the devastating realities of tornadoes. All of these things support those words. Remember, my white highlights talked about the area, so those would be communities. They were all places in the United States or North America. My pink highlights were talking about the devastations, so the killings, the injuries, the damage. And then they were all about tornadoes. And I can see that here. Tornadoes, tornadoes, tornadoes. So that also went with one of the words in my first sentence. So I think that I have enough evidence to say that that very first sentence of the paragraph is actually giving me the main idea of the paragraph, because everything throughout, beginning, middle, and end of that paragraph, actually support and are details or evidence for that first sentence, the main idea. So if I were going to say what the main idea of this paragraph is, I would say that it tells me about places or communities in the United States or North America that have experienced devastating tornado damage. That's basically restating the first sentence. Now we're going to look at this article that is about Jane Goodall. We have a title here, so we know that Jane Goodall is probably the topic, but we're not really sure what the main idea is. So we need to do several readings and again go through and highlight words and synonyms, phrases that are repeated throughout the text. We're looking for things that we see at the beginning, middle, and end of the text. And then once we really look back and study all of the highlighted pieces, then we can put those things together and give a main idea that includes our topic of Jane Goodall. Remember, some of the strategies are to look for the first sentence and last sentence of the paragraph, and sometimes those first and last sentences aren't going to give a full main idea. So we might have to really look through all of our highlighted words and phrases and put them together to make the main idea. Be sure that you're not highlighting full sentences throughout the entire paragraph, or else your whole paragraph is going to end up highlighted, and that's not going to help you at all. I want you to try this on your own. You can either print this slide or grab a paper copy from your teacher. Please highlight through the text after you do a first read to get the overall idea. Your second read should be when you highlight, and your third read is going to be really just reading through those highlighted pieces to put them all into a one-sentence main idea. Remember that main idea should include your topic of Jane Goodall. When you're finished, you can check to see if your main idea is correct, because all of your highlighted words should be used in your main idea sentence in some way. All right, now it's your turn to give it a go.